how are you? Cade me the Vulture. Welcome back to Plastic Paddy's podcast, episode 19. I'm going to try and keep this intro short and sweet. As you all know, I'm currently doing a series in the lead up to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and also the Dublin Fringe Festival, where I'm chatting to some incredible female comedians, writers and directors about their up-and-coming shows. Yesterday, I spoke to comedian and writer Caroline McAvoy. I'll link it somewhere. And today I'm speaking to the hilarious writer and comedian Marty Gleeson about her upcoming show, Wham, Bam, Thank You, Ma'am. So yeah, lads, hope you enjoy the episode. Marty Gleeson, welcome to Plastic Paddy's podcast.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
No, that's not right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm warm, but I'm good.
It's really hot in here, guys. Just so you know, the sacrifices that we're making.
Yeah.
Before we get into anything, I have to ask you a very annoying question, and I would bet you've probably been asked this question a million times.
Okay.
Are you any relation to Brendan Gleeson?
I'm not.
No.
No. I saw him go for a walk once.
Oh,
so, with a big
near
staff.
enough. You might as well be his niece.
I was like, Papa. No. Yeah, my uncle. No. I'm no relation to him whatsoever.
Oh.
No.
He had a big staff.
It was like he lives in Clare and he was walking around on the roads with a big staff. And I was like, there's Brendan Gleeson there in the middle of this. I was like, God, little does he know, in 5 years he's going to do the pantries the minute year. Anyway, no.
Brilliant. Anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about you're taking the show to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yes.
That's really exciting. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Tell us about the show. What can the audience expect?
So it's me and two other female comics have band together to do kind of a stand-up split bill mixed with like sketch comedy kind of show. All of our styles are really different. So it's kind of interesting because usually when you do a split bill, you kind of like go with similar styles.
Yeah.
But we kind of all just work together as well because like our styles are different, but we still cross over in certain ways. So it kind of makes the hour a bit more, I don't know, dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
So, so it's just like we're all in our 30s, females, trying to do
same.
Yeah, all of it like, and it's just kind of trying to be like make something that's like women, but not like exclusive that. Like a bit silly, fun, but also I don't know what the word is, making a statement, I guess.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that's always a really clever thing to do with comedy. I feel like if you can deliver a message, a social message or political message or any kind of message really, but through comedy, I always think that's really smart.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes it easier for people to receive if it's in a funny way.
Yes.
People don't tend to bite your head off or be like, oh, stop trying to shove this down my throat.
Yeah,
I feel like it makes them think. Well done, you guys. It's called Wham Bam Thank You, Ma'am.
Yeah.
Why that? How did you come up with the name?
So we didn't actually come up with the name. We had this big Excel sheet of all these different names, like looking around the room, being like balloon shoot, trying to come up with anything. Obviously, that did not make the list. But it was actually Sue's partner, Mike Goring, who's our tech, who came up with the name, and we were all like, yeah, I like it. And it
had
actually
a bit of a ring to it.
And he's come along with us on the journey now, and he kind of does our tech, but he also he might be like, oh, maybe you could try this as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Bit of creative direction.
A little bit.
Let's not go that far.
If he saw this, he'd be like, yes, I am. He does some very good impressions of Greta Thunberg. We'll just say that.
Anyway. Yeah. So I saw you guys as well doing your street interviews to find out what people think Wham Bam Thank You Man means, which is really funny.
Cool.
A lot of people said shagging, which I think I associate it with that as well.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of take it as like you do something quickly and then you're done with it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of like, because it's a work in progress show as well, we're kind of like figuring out what we're doing and also like not taking it too seriously, but seriously, and kind of like with anything, when anybody watches comedy or looks at a piece of art, it's like your message, but whatever they perceive it is to be as well.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of those things as well, I'd say.
When is it on? What time is it on? And where is it on at the Fringe?
So it's on from the 3rd to the 13th of August in just the meeting rooms in the Grass Market at 9:50 p.m. every night.
Nice.
Till then, yeah.
I will link tickets and stuff down below, guys, if anybody wants to. Is going to Edinburgh, go to the show. It sounds amazing. So you've said it's a split bill.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more about the women that you're working with. Who are they?
So Frances Keaton is a Welsh comic.
Nice.
She's fantastic. She's absolutely storming it around the place. She's quite like her crowd work is impeccable. So she like starts off the show and she like pulls people in. And then she's got like these really quick, tight quips that are just like. So it's different styles. It's really cool. But she's excellent person to work with, and then we've got Sue, who is so I'm in the middle, and then Sue B is later on, and she's more, I'd say, energetic comedian, and she's a bit more like clown-esque, I'd say.
Okay.
But kind of like, I don't know, a bit like Jack Black, but Sue is different,
That
her
is
own thing.
Up my street, for sure.
Yeah, and just like, she's from, she's London Malaysian, so she makes references to that as well. And then of course I'm in the middle, I'm very much like a bit more chill.
Yeah,
So it's a nice dynamic because it's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But I'm really privileged to work with them, and we really love working together and coming up with bits together, and we think it's not just like a split bill for us to be like, oh, look at us do this thing. We think people actually are really enjoying it and really like it, and I think they can tell we have a good relationship on stage. Because we all just, I love you. So yeah,
I love it. How did you guys meet?
Just on the circuit. So we kind of all started at the same time, about 2.5 years ago, I'd say. And I run a night called Wheel of Death in Kentish Town on the last Thursday of the month. It's not on in August. And I think it was either Sue or Frances who was doing the night, and then we were out in the smoking area, and then we were like, guys, because we saw Vaults Festival is another festival on every year. And we saw they were taking applications, and we were like, do you want to just pitch something and see if we get it? And we got it. And then that was it.
Amazing. Yeah. And how does it work when you're doing a split bill? Is it like do you all sit together and write a full hour show, or is it you bring your part and they bring their own individual parts? Yeah, so with a general split bill, each person does their own thing. Like I wouldn't edit anyone else's kind of thing. You might be like, oh, you could try it like this, but we don't really do that. And then the way we're doing it though is like to make it more of a comprehensive show. We've got like things at the start and in the middle, the transitions and the end. That's what I was wondering. So how do you link them together? Yes, so those are parts where we write things together, or we think, oh, you could do this there, or even just deciding who goes where in the set. And that's kind of just how we have decided to structure it. And I mean, if someone did have a note about someone, we'd be like, oh, you could try that, but one of us would be like, actually, I'm going to direct the whole thing. No, because I mean, we're all so different as well, but we all have part to play in coming up with the whole thing together. Nice. Yeah. Is this your first time at the Fringe? I've done like kind of showcase things, like jumping on other people's bills, or like bills or opening for other people, but I haven't done my own show with people. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Excited. Yeah. How are you feeling about it? I feel good, but there's like a million and one things to do before then, But it's like very much like the last 2 years I've done it. See, the first year I went was like just after COVID, so it was so quiet. Yeah. But I had no frame of reference. I was still like, this is amazing. And then last year was like stamina test, but I wasn't even doing like proper shows. Do you just go up every year anyway, just to sort of like watch other people's shows or jump on where you can? Yeah. But this year now I'm very much like, last year I would have been like going out every night and having the crack, but this year it's like I must go for a hike every day and eat well and meditate, like just really look like I'm apprehensive about. No, I'm not apprehensive. I just know how to this year just be like taking it a bit more
seriously.
serious.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Coming at it from a completely different angle.
Yeah.
And does it feel like any other set, or is there do you have a different feeling that, oh, actually it's the Edinburgh Fringe? Is it, have you got a nervousness about it, or do you just, are you just viewing it as like, oh, I do this, you know, a walk in the park, I can do it like any other show?
I think it depends. I think at the start it'll be a bit like because we'll be finding our feet with the show. I won't be too nervous about it until like the middle, I'd say, when we're meant to have been warmed up and be good, and reviewers might come in then, and then I'll be a bit like, okay, I really like, and then but throughout that time we'll be doing other spots on other shows as well, promoting, because that's what you do. Like, you do your show, but then you open to someone else or go on a compilation show. And then after it, you're like, I'm doing a show in this place, come to this. So some of those shows I might be more nervous on than this show, because at least I'll have, this is what I do, and this and this and this. But I'm not, I don't know. It's not like I'm doing some shows really late at night, which I'm a bit apprehensive about. But yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Sure. Do you get nervous in general?
Depends on the like, the
scale of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
What, the more people, the more nervous you get? Or is it just more like, if it's going to be, if there's a chance there's going to be like agents there or whatever, like, you know, that industry people there, does that make you more nervous?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it's more like, I did, you know, I did a new material night recently, and like, that's fine usually, but all the comedians on that bill were like professional TV comedians testing stuff, and I was like, oh god, I don't really care about the audience. I was like,
no, like fangirl.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to do well in front of these people, but like, sure, they were just doing their bits and leaving, you know.
Yeah.
But it was fine. But like, yeah, you're like, this ego thing comes into it as well, and you have to remember, like, it's about having fun. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I could never do it. I've interviewed a couple of people that have got shows going to the Fringe, and I've just like, I admire you guys so much. I could not do it. But I don't know. There's something about making people laugh I just find absolutely terrifying. My show would just be me like, I'm really sorry for existing.
But you're doing a podcast, like, you're talking.
I know, but it's so much easier. Like, I just record. I just like speak to a camera. If anything I don't like, I can just cut it out. Like, you're just in front of live people, and people can be mean. I think that's what I'm like I would be most nervous about.
They can be, but I think usually when someone heckles, they just kind of lose the run of themselves and they just want to join in.
Yeah.
And then when you say, what did you say? Then they're like, oh. And then you're like, oh, they're just excited. Yeah. And that's fine. Sometimes there are people where you're like, oh, wow.
Have you ever had a really bad one?
I did this show once where, so bad. I did this show once and it was just not going well. And I was looking at the front row. And this one guy was just like looking at me, and he was like this.
Oh,
he was just
mouthing, get off the stage to you.
Just like, I know. Yeah.
That's spiteful. That's really insidious. Oh, awful person. What did you do? Did you just carry on?
I was so new, I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of just was like, moved on. But now I'd be like able to do something.
Yeah, right and all.
But, oh god, this is horrendous.
Oh, that's so awful. Jesus, that's so brutal. So what are you looking forward to the most and the least about doing the Fringe?
The most, I think, just getting to see other shows and like having that feeling of having done a good show, you know, and feeling like, oh, I really owned that moment, or like just kind of. Have you ever been up to the Fringe?
Do you know what? I haven't. I'm dying to go.
It's magic. It's like you go there and it's like every corner of the city there's something going on.
And it's not just comedy, is it?
No, it's like so many different theatre and everything. But like things are going on until like 4 a.m, like show wise. Yeah. But then like people go out after. But like it's like a movie set. Like you just look, everything is just boom, 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 and everyone's so happy. What I'm not looking forward to, I think, is like the middle slump where you're like, okay, I need to keep going.
Because you're doing the 10 days, aren't you?
I'm doing the 10 days, but I'm going to stay on for another 10 and do other stuff.
Yeah.
But no, do you know what? There's no part I'm not looking forward to. I think it's all important and it's all valuable and useful. I think it will be the end when I'll be the most
saddest,
saddest. End of story. Book.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, good. You said earlier that you've only, is this right? You've only been doing comedy for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It just seems like you were such a
Oh, thank you.
pro. I would have guessed that you'd been at it for like years and years and years.
Oh, thanks very much.
But how did you get into it?
I live in Kentish Town,
Nice.
and there's this pub there called the Vine.
Oh, I like the Vine.
Yes, and yeah, it's a lovely pub.
Mm.
But it used to be they used to do comedy nights upstairs. So right before I think I did like one gig before lockdown, and it was that gig, and then lockdown happened, and I was like, I want to do comedy.
Yeah.
But I used to go to that open mic night and then just go and watch it and be like, I could do this, and just be really jealous watching the people on stage,
Yeah.
but also being like, this looks like so much fun, and being like, just feeling like I could do it, and like whenever I go watch it, it's like my brain was just really on after it, and I was like thinking
The
of all
ideas were
different,
flowing, and yeah.
So then I kind of just, I didn't know that you could literally just go up to someone and be like, can I do your night? And they go, yeah. And then I thought it was like a whole thing of like, I gotta impress these people in show business. So I like sent like the person who runs B&T, Sarah, hello Sarah, her, like a video. And then I went the next week and she was like, you're on next week. And the way I saw it all was, you impressed me, kid, you're on next week. Basically, I don't even know if she saw the video and was like, yeah, you can have a spot. And I was like, man, here we go.
Yeah.
And then I was like did my first set, and I was like, I'm so terrified I'm gonna like shit my pants right
Yeah,
now.
I would have felt this exactly the same.
It was, and the MC was like, and now this person's doing her very first. I was like, don't do that, but also I was like, please do that. Make me feel better.
Make them be kind to me.
Like, and
where were you in the lineup?
I think I was third.
See, that's nice. I would hate to have been first or last.
Oh God, they wouldn't have done that to a newbie.
Okay.
And then I just went up, and after that I was like, this is the best feeling ever. So good. And then locked up.
Oh, that's so gutting.
Yeah.
But do you think that it kind of helped you fine tune things? Did you get a lot of writing done, or were you just like in a bit of a lockdown slump?
Oh, I was so new that I was just trying whatever. But yeah, I was trying to write. I was doing random Zoom gigs.
Yeah.
But I'd say I probably didn't properly start it after lockdown.
It's hard though when you can't get out there in front of people. It's really difficult.
But because I'd been just doing Zoom gigs, I was like so afraid to do live gigs.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't a proper comedian by any means at that point. I was just had a notion in my head. And then when the gigs did lift, or the lockdown did lift, I did my first gig back, and it was like absolutely crazy. It was so weird. But I was like, yeah, this is great actually. It was really fun.
How was your first ever gig, the one that you did at Kentish Town? Did it go down okay?
It actually did go down pretty well.
Yeah.
I've never done that set since, ever.
Really?
Never, ever. I think there was one line in it that I kept for like 4 gigs, and then I dropped it. But I actually look at it, and I'm like, I actually would still use that maybe.
Yeah.
But I was talking about pigeons and poo or something, and Enya, a lot about Enya.
Oh!
which is the one I keep. But I just look at the video, and it was actually all right. It wasn't too bad, but I was like visibly just
bless you.
yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Maybe.
Yeah.
I've done worse gigs, I think. Since then. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So you just had a feeling that you could do it. A lot of people that I've spoke to, comics in particular, have said that they did a course or they did something. You just went straight into it. That's so cool.
Yeah, but like, sure, that's if there's anything you really want to do, you just do it, right?
I know, and that is true, and I completely agree with that sentiment. But with something like this, I feel like I chat a lot of shit anyway. I like talking to people. So for me, this feels very. I suppose then that's the same for you, isn't it? If you're just a naturally funny person and you're, can put a show together, then yeah. I'm just talking rubbish. I was going to say it feels like comedy is like a skill that you really have to kind of hone and work on. But that might not necessarily be true. There are loads of people that have just got funny bones and naturally funny.
You have to work on it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people I think that just build that muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But you must be to a degree if you were just like, I'm just going to be a stand-up comic. I'm just going to go and do a set.
Yeah, but like, the level of delusion there as well. Do you know, like
Delulu land. I live there as well, babes. Don't worry. The best.
I know, it keeps me going. If I didn't have that, and I look back at some of the stuff, I'm like, how do I not have like PTSD from some of the things? But it is definitely, yeah, you could be a naturally funny person, but like same as for your podcast, if you're someone who likes chatting, like you do all your research about all the different people. So it's like you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, and then you open the door and you're like, oh, there's like 50 other doors here. I didn't realize
just learning
I can
as
go
you go.
this way. Yeah. So yeah, it's an intense amount of work.
And how did you come up with your first set? Like, how did you make it a stand-up set with like punchlines and like you leading up to stuff and like? Did you just try it? Were you just like, fuck it, I'm just going to try it and see what happens?
I wrote it out. I mean, you're saying that now as if it's a polished set. It by no means was a polished set. It was like observations and like a bit of storytelling. I'd watched other comedians and was like, oh,
fine.
you know,
So you got tips.
Flow.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like Jesus. It's not a good set.
Is it on YouTube?
No.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go on YouTube it. That's fair. No. So how would you describe your style of comedy? I don't know anything about styles of comedy. I don't know what the lingo is, but I have seen you before. I've watched a show of yours, and I think it would be fair to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you've got quite a dry sense of humour. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm still figuring that style out, but I'm coming around to just being more myself, and apparently it's quite dry.
No, I feel like that will always be the best. If you're faking it, people will tell eventually. I feel like.
Yeah, totally. But I guess there's a certain amount of preservation you want to keep on stage as well, between you and who you are on stage. But it just keeps bleeding in. And I can't help it, especially if you're emceeing. But yeah, it's quite dry, deadpan, I guess, whimsical. But and then moments of like weird hyperness, I think.
Yeah.
But
mix
then
of everything.
Silly, I guess. Yeah. Figuring it
out. When I saw you were hilarious. Just so you know. So the place that I did see you at was at an Irish creative collective night called Seamsa. Am I saying that right? Seamsa. At Toulouse-Lautrec, which, by the way, is it a monthly thing that they do? Seamsa?
It's not monthly, but the Irish Creative Collective do a monthly night of different things. But Seamsa is kind of, I think they actually, Joe will be like, Marty!
Yeah!
If you go on the Irish Creative Collective thing, they always have something.
I'll link them down below. But Seamsa is like, it's like a variety show, isn't it? It's different art forms. It's amazing, and you should go and check it out. But that's where I first saw you. And how did you come to know the Irish Creative Collective? How did you become a part of it?
I actually can't remember the first. I can remember I did their first ever collective gig that they had in London. Joe O'Neill runs it, and it was in a pub. I can't remember what pub it was, but it was on at the same time the event as like a football match in the pub, and there was no separation between the telly, the TV, and the stage. And there was another group, Hawk the band were there. Jack Hester, who was a regular at the collective, and Jane Buckley was there. And it was a lovely experience because it was like, you know, Irish people and sing song, but it's a different band to what it is now. And Joe's done a fantastic job at doing that. But that's how I got involved, and then they must have liked me because they asked me back intermittently, and I come back, and it's lovely to meet that many Irish people. I mean, it's not hard, is it? We're fucking everywhere, but you know, in the arts, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because I think when you move somewhere and like there is an established thing already, it's a bit cliquey to get into. Whereas they built this from the ground up, and it's more inclusive.
Yeah, it is. It's so amazing. Support Irish artists, guys. They're insanely talented across the board at all different art forms. Where in Ireland are you from?
Limerick.
Limerick. Oh, my friend Patricia's from Limerick. She'll be buzzing.
Oh, where's she from?
I have no idea.
Oh.
She is culty though. She's from that countryside.
Oh, she
countryside.
could
She's
be
not
near
from
me.
Lincoln.
I'm from the countryside.
Are you
as well.
really?
Yeah.
How long have you lived in London?
Almost 7 years.
Oh, really?
Almost 7 years.
Is it flying?
I just realised that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 7 years. Yeah. You sure you know what it's like? Are you from London yourself?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Oh, so do you experience that span of time that just like collapses in on itself? It's just like, what am I doing? I can't
Yes,
grasp
all
anything.
the time,
Oh,
constantly.
it's crazy.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So 7 years ago, and you said you live in Kentish Town?
In Kentish Town.
Have you always lived there?
Always lived there. I was really lucky. Just moved straight into a flat and have been there since. But
Nice.
now I'm moving. So
Where are you moving to?
No idea. I'll have to move like the day after I come back from the Fringe.
Oh
So,
God,
I know.
lads! If anyone's got a flat that Marty can move into,
people.
please let us know.
Yeah.
Oh, are you sharing?
Yeah.
Nice.
2 buddies. Yeah.
So you're Irish in London. How original of you!
I know. Get a job. Sorry. I do have a job. That's instigating that Irish people don't have jobs. Oh no!
Terrible. But would you say that your comedy, obviously you started being a comic in London, do you think though being Irish has influenced your comedy, your style, the material? Do you think that you've got a sort of Irish sense of humour?
I do not think I have an Irish sense of
You
humor.
don't think
no.
so?
I think certain moments, like
Yeah.
maybe not on stage, like, but I think that certain ways, like storytelling, is so Irish.
Oh yeah.
And whereas English comedy is like more quick turnover.
Yeah.
Which I do more, but I am leaning a bit towards storytelling because it's if you're just having a conversation with yourself when we're not on stage, and then I think it's just because telling a long story is difficult to get done in 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's how long you have, or 20. But I'm leaning more towards that. But I would be more gravitating towards the sarcastic, dry sense of humor of England. But growing up, like I don't even know. I suppose I was influenced, but like I wouldn't be watching them now, like Brendan Grace and all those people.
Yeah.
And I love their character stuff. But like obviously it would not hold up now.
Yeah.
It's so inappropriate. But like his voices and the way he's quite clowny and he's able to jump between things, and that definitely has influenced me and the kind of misdirection. But yeah, I'd say it is. I think despite what I think it is, has influenced me.
I think to a level, you can't really be helped. You can't help but be influenced by your background. Anywhere you're from or anyone, you can't really be helped but be influenced by it, can you? Do you think you come from a funny family? I think, in general, if I'm stereotyping, Irish people tend to just be naturally quite funny. Do you think that you come from a funny family? Not funny. I don't mean like could they all be stand-up comics, but do you think they just like did you grow up just like just having the crack? Is your family quite good, light-hearted, funny?
I'd say I have very different sense of humor to my
Oh really?
family.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit like my dad, but not really. I would say no, very different sense of humor.
If they came to one of your shows, would they be? Do you think they'd find it funny? Would they be a bit like?
I think my sister would. My mom would. I think my mom would. She's impressed by it.
Yeah.
And she has come to one of my shows. She actually came on stage once. I got her to go up and open. But I think she loves like Miss Barnes boys. She loves seeing someone fall over. That is like
just
her,
like slapstick.
Oh, and I do find that funny sometimes. But like, when your parents do something that you're like, it's like I never knew you. I put on like Natural Libre, that, and I've never seen her laugh so much in my life, and I was like, what in the world?
That is absolutely
which I like, but
hilarious. What would you, if any, if you think you're qualified to? What advice would you give to somebody that is going at comedy for the first time?
Just do what you want to do, not what you think you should do. Like go towards what you naturally find is funny.
Yeah.
and gig as much as you can. I
Okay,
think, yeah.
good advice.
Yeah.
Who are some of the people, comics or otherwise, I feel like you can definitely be inspired from other art forms.
Mm.
Who are some of the people that influence or inspire you?
Interesting. I will go with comedy because
Yeah,
thing. I really like Josie Long. She's an excellent storyteller.
you're the second person that's mentioned her actually.
Yeah,
I'm going to check her stuff out.
she's so likable, and
Yeah,
she gets big points across as well. I don't really do that in my comedy, but it's something I'd like aspire to. And also, when you're afraid to actually say what you think, she just says it,
there's it.
but in
I
a way
love
where
that.
you're like, oh, you're so
You're
lovable.
so lovely. Yeah.
Then I think there's a comedian who actually had on my gig last week, which was an absolute honour. His name is Sam Campbell. He's wonderfully just weird, like just excellent joke writing. I think
Yeah.
he's fantastic. So I'm very influenced by him. And Josie Long, and then I love James Acaster as well, of course.
Oh, I
easy
am
pickings.
obsessed with him.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
so good.
But then I don't know. I love Broad City, all those people, and I don't know. I don't know. There's so many because there's
It's
so many
hard,
different
isn't it?
kinds
Yeah.
of comedians. Yeah, it's really difficult to pick.
But would those be your top three? James Acaster, Josie Long, and Sam Campbell.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely missing some people. Aaron Chen is another really good comedian.
It always, I find my top, I have loads of top lists of everything, but they change constantly.
Oh yeah,
It's hard, isn't it?
this is it.
And then I just would like you to remind us. You mentioned it earlier. What is your comedy night called? You run a comedy night the last Thursday of every month.
Yeah, it's called Wheel of Death. It's in Kentish Town, and it's an alternative comedy night. So there's like clown and sketch and like slightly more alternative stand up and stuff. It's really interesting.
Nice. Why the name? What's the name? Where did you come up with the name?
So we use this. So each comedian does their time, but then one or two comedians will be chosen to do the Wheel of Death, and there's like 4 topics on the wheel. So it's kind of like Mock the Week, may it rest in peace. And you spin the wheel, and they do like a topic on the wheel for 2 minutes, improvise on the spot.
Amazing.
It's really fun.
And is it ticketed?
Yeah, it's ticketed, but it's like only like £3. But it's just about coming in and having the crack, because there's so many comedy nights in North London, but we just wanted to do an alternative one where anything can happen and have it a bit chaotic. So that's what we picked.
Sounds so much fun. I'll link that below as well, guys.
Please, thank you.
Marty Gleeson, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
It was amazing chatting with you. Before we go, just remind everybody about your Edinburgh Fringe show. What's it called? Where is it?
Wham Bam, thank you, ma'am. Just the meeting room, the Grass Market, 9:50 from the 3rd, 9:50 p.m. from the 3rd to the 13th of August.
Amazing. Go and check it out, guys.
Thank you so much.
Lads, that's all for this week, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Lads, that was it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I've really, really loved recording it. Marty is absolutely lovely, a dream guest. Tune in again next week, where I will be speaking to the wonderful comedian, actor and writer, Miss Lee Douglas, about her show A Bit Celtic. But if you are heading up to the Fringe this month, anywhere between the 3rd and the 13th of August, please go and see Marty's show, Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am. I've got no doubt it's going to be amazing. All the details will be linked below as well, so if you want to get tickets or just check it out, click the link below. Please go and follow Marty on social media. Her Instagram is literally just Marty Gleeson _. Follow myself on social media, of course, Plastic Paddies Podcast on all socials. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it does me a huge favour. So please press subscribe. And if you're listening on, Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon Music, please still go and subscribe to my YouTube. And yeah, lads, that was all for this week. I will see you lot next week for my 20th episode. I can't believe it. It's gone so fast. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye.